And I am froze. Damn. Okay, there we go. All right, we straight. Hey, appreciate y'all for tapping in. Love y'all to pieces. The We're Doing All Right show is Wolchuk. We call it that because we're doing all right and we want to get straight to the work. I don't even call Bryan Broaddus Super Bowl winning scout Bryan Broaddus. We just doing all right and we get right to it. But we got Zach Wolchuk, 105.3 The Fan. He does a Dallas Cowboys draft show also. Hey, he's been on the channel before. He's a friend of ours. Zach Wolchuk, what's happening, man?
What's up, guys? I think this is needed. I think some Cowboys therapy is definitely what I'd like to have, and two better people to do it with. I don't think I could name, so I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Softball, low hanging fruit. Why do you need Cowboys therapy? Wolchuk, everything's all right. Things going wrong in Cowboy Nation. What's the problem?
I got doubts, man. I mean, I think this loss against the Saints has me very. I don't think this team is quite a contender, in which I thought maybe they had made some corrections this offseason to put themselves into better position to play against some of these offenses, specifically against the run. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, the Saints came in, they bullied you, and it was kind of really deja vu from what we've seen before. And I wonder, do they have the personnel right now to get this corrected? You got 15 games left, and then hopefully some playoff football, so a lot of time. But, I'm nervous right now about this matchup against Baltimore.
Are you nervous going forward just because what you saw with New Orleans, with the way they play with a fullback, the way they play with a tight end? It just doesn't seem like the Cowboys handle that personnel group very well, where they have to deal with blockers that like on the edge, the way the Saints showed you, and the way that the Ravens are probably going to show you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the challenge is with the heavy sets, and you got two good tight ends and Likely and Andrews, and what Lamar Jackson can do, obviously. You mix in Derrick Henry, who's probably motivated, coming to play a team in which he would have liked to have played for. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. He's got a place here locally in the DFW area. So, I think they're going to see a lot of things that New Orleans did well, that Clint Kubiak's scheme did well, and say, can we replicate any of this? And Lamar Jackson's a different beast. I mean, look, it's several years ago now. It's a lot of different personnel and a new coaching staff. But the last time the Cowboys saw Lamar Jackson, it was missed tackle, missed tackle, missed tackle. You're on rollerblades out there. So, I think this team has a lot of proving to do before I'm going to be optimistic again that they're going to be able to handle a physical opponent. I'm hopeful that they come out, and they've been very good under Mike McCarthy after losses. But they got to kind of prove it before I'm going to start drinking the Kool-Aid again.
Man, Wolchuk, boy, I was listening to Mike Zimmer today, man, and he was all like, hey, man, fixing shit is what I do, man. Hey, it's all good, man. I fixed things before. I'm going to fix it again. Man, Wolchuk, let me ask you this, and Brian, you can bounce back off this. You think it's a scheme thing that can fix this? Do you think it could be fixed with the guys that we have, or do you think we need better dudes to fix this?
Go ahead, Zach. This is not an easy one to deal with. To me personally, I feel like that this time around, you're not going to be able to get the players. You're not going to be able to get the players. Now, what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to hope that some of these guys do play better. And in the New Orleans game really doesn't give you any help or any confidence with the defensive tackles. To me, this group was always going to be about playing better run defense because of the linebackers. It was going to be because of, Kendricks. It was going to be because of what we were going to see with Overshown. What we're going to see, they talked to us. They told us about, Leofau and what he was going to bring. And, he's a young guy, and they got a lot of young guys. Clark got a lot of young guys. But this run defense was going to be about their ability to be a little bit more stout on the edge with Nealon, and then find a way to get linebackers to the football. And if you let offensive linemen get up on your linebackers the whole entire day, they're not going to be any better against the run. And that's your hope. That's your hope that somehow, some way you figure out that holding up blocks inside is your best avenue. And that's really the only avenue, because I don't see them making a trade. I don't see them adding something that way. I think Mike's going to try and fix it with what he has in-house, and he's going to do the best things he can to make these linebackers be able to play free. and not have to deal with blocks. But boy, that's easier said than done after what we saw against the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, I believe in Zim. I do. I don't think last week was a great reflection and people jumping off the Zimmer bandwagon. I don't think you should do that. I think it's a personnel
I was thinking
issue.
about it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know you were, and that's your guy. But I think it is personnel, guys. I mean, I think Dan Quinn, and I'll hold myself responsible. I thought maybe this was Dan Quinn schematically could not match up against the Shanahan tree, the McVays, the Shanahans, the LaFleurs, the McDaniels that we're seeing. They seem to always run up against issues. Now, Buffalo, they're not running that with Joe Brady, right? And they also came out and kicked the Cowboys in the mouth. So, yeah, they added Nealon. They added Eric Kendricks. Overshone's healthy. I thought the team speed into what Brian's saying with Nealon being able to set the edge and Tank on the other side was going to help mitigate that. The defensive tackles are a huge problem, and I think we're seeing why Linval Joseph and Jordan Phillips were available as late in training camp as they were. And maybe it was just, hey, it was a terrible day at the office, and they come out and they look like new people on Sunday against Baltimore. But I think that's wishful thinking. And Mozzie is what he is right now. Hopefully he gets better. He had a good week 1. It was a poor week 2. Can he bounce back in week 3? Maybe that's an area that I'm trying to talk myself into positives here. But your defensive tackles were a massive problem. And if they can't hold up and allow your running backs to utilize their speed and their eyes and play with what's in front of them, especially, your safeties are like that too. Donovan Wilson can be a physical guy that can come up. Marquise Bell, the same thing. But you don't want these guys getting to the second and third level so easily on the offensive line. New Orleans did it too easily. And I'm scared moving forward when you go up against these teams until Dallas proves that they can stop it. If I'm an offensive coordinator, I'm just going to run on you and I'm going to attack the perimeter.
Hey, Voch, we had a chance to interview Eric and I in the pregame. Mike Haas, who's the play-by-play guy for the Saints.
Yeah.
And Mike Haas, one of the proud things that he was talking about when it came to the Saints running game was the fact that Alvin Kamara was getting 2.3 yards, 2.4 yards before even being touched.
Mm.
I kind of felt like they got into the same mode this game.
Yeah.
I felt like that maybe there was times where, man, that ball was coming downhill. And, they weren't getting bodies to them. They weren't, maybe they were getting 2.4 yards before any kind of contact. That's the thing. And I want to ask you, Voch, because I'd like to hear what you think about this. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but you always surprise me sometimes with some of your stuff.
Well, Brian, I was watching the film, right? And I was looking at our run game after I was looking at their run game. And I got the same feeling that I get when I watch the Lions run game or the 49ers run game or the Miami Dolphins run game. I'm like, man, what are we doing wrong, right? Because they do pin and pull and we do some pin and pull. We do outside zone stuff. We do, counter and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, man, is it how we lined up? Because if you just watch us, it looked like we just run into each other sometimes, right? It just looked like maybe it's like our alignments or something like that. And, then maybe if we line up well and 5 people do an amazing job blocking, like, damn, boy, we just hold that block a little longer. Damn, if Lipke doesn't whiff there, or damn, dog, why are we asking a tight end to block a stud defensive end by himself one-on-one? Like, it'd be small things, Bryan Broaddus, and apparently it worked for those other teams when they do it against us, but it just Mike McCarthy talked about it. They asked him, Mike is probably tired of hearing Shanahan tree, and Mike, I didn't like how he answered it. I didn't like how he responded to it. He seemed like it was just like apples and oranges. I don't think it's an apples and oranges thing. I think if the best dudes in the league are appling, your ass need to be appling. You don't need to be oranging while the best teams in the league are appling. And Mike, the head coach, Mike McCarthy, was like, oh, it's just a philosophy thing. It's just some things that they took from the college game, and it's just some stuff that they do. They do a great job at it. Nah, they've been kicking your ass with it, and they've been whooping everybody else in the league with it, Brian. So I don't think it's just Kamara being great. Like, it's scheme. It's how they set up the run game in general. The Carolina Panthers gave you problems last year. They just weren't a good enough team to fully deal with you and beat you for real. But Miles Sanders got some run yards against you. So we just look sloppy. It doesn't look like we have a direction as a run game. And if you listen to our guy Schottenheimer, right?
Yeah,
boy, they don't need to be talking to us because I'm just picking them apart. Schottenheimer was like, hey man, we need some attempts. We just need to keep running. We just need to figure it all out. We got the guys in this room to figure it all out. Man, attempts ain't your problem. Attempts is not your problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you and I talked about what I thought how the Cleveland game should have been in the second half. Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel some vindication there, but to me, this people can say, well, damn, they're not committed to trying to defend the run. They drafted a guy that might be the wrong guy. Mm-hmm. When you look, I mean, they spent a premium pick on a defensive tackle that they thought could be a run stopper, a 2-gap run stopper that was 329 pounds when he was playing at Michigan, and they were playing Ohio State and Indiana and Penn State and everybody else. I mean, that's the one thing they did try. And it's likely right now not working out for them. Mm-hmm. I mean, that looks like that might be a little bit of a miss, And so unfortunately, that's the problem, is that you throw a draft pick at it. It doesn't work. Now you're throwing August bodies at it. And hey, You're listening to Bryan Broaddus tell you that Phillips was a better player at Buffalo.
Yeah.
I think the pro guys are watching the same tape we're all watching, and they're like, damn, this guy's okay, active, play out, I mean, John Owning put up a clip today talking about if Linval Joseph was in this spot, if Linval Joseph if he gets out of the A gap, you're damn lucky right now. You're asking him to get all the way to the B, asking him to get all the way to maybe C. No, he doesn't play with that kind of range. And so now you're trying to say, well, if he was in this gap, and I'm kind of like going, damn, when's the last time he got to that gap? And that's the problem. If you're asking these guys to do some things that they can't do, and unfortunately, though, I think this is who you are until maybe you get up against some teams that don't have the ability to run the ball like what you just saw with the Saints, and you're about to see with the Ravens. Maybe you're going to catch a break or two where you get somebody that just doesn't have the offensive line or the scheme to hurt you like the Saints and what you're potentially going to see here with the Ravens.
Bryan, I mean, the problem is,
go ahead.
And I'm sorry, Voch, but like if they want to be a postseason team and do damage, and I know there might be some people that roll your eyes to the Cowboys in the playoffs, right? But that's the goal. That's the goal is to end that, right, and actually do something. Right. Green Bay might be showing up, right? New Orleans seems like a team that's going to be there. Detroit can run the football. Sure. San Francisco can run the football. All the teams that you're going to have, you can't hide from it.
No, you can't. You're
going to end up having to stare that in the face, and you're going to have to.
You're right.
Hey, you're going to have to face that gorilla, right? And they have to figure out a way to answer that, or else it's going to be one and done again if they're even able to make it to January.
Do you think that is something that gets better over time? Like, to be fair to Zimmer, to be fair, it's been 2 games, and he's had, great years in, Minnesota, Cincinnati, and Dallas, of course. But that's like, all right, I've been doing this for like 7 years now, and I've built this culture and this thing around my defense, and I've gotten my guys in here, and we live this philosophy that this is a Zimmer defense. It's been 2 weeks. One of your linebackers was hurt. Mozzie's shoulder was hurt. These 40-year-old men was just on the street a couple of weeks ago. Like, do you think that this is just something that needs time, or is this just something that whenever we go against a Shanahan dude, it's just a wrap and we shouldn't even get excited about it?
Kind of feel like you're going to need time for Leofau, for Clark, and for Overshown. I think you're going to need some time, and you're going to probably need some time for Nealon too. That's where that was an eye-opening experience for those dudes in that game the other day. That were guys coming off the ball coming downhill. I'm dealing with a big tight end. I'm dealing with a fullback. I'm dealing with a guard. I'm dealing with a center. There was a lot going on there for those cats. And, Jerry Jones today on 105.3 The Fan was kind of talking about jumping around blocks and stuff like that. I've seen him jump around blocks before, but I didn't see, I don't get it on this one because, I've seen guys play out of place. This one physically looked like a hat on hat, and you're fighting like hell to, and Micah was talking about effort today. Or last night on his podcast. I respectfully disagree with him. The effort was there. The problem was you're going up against a team that has a feel in their scheme now of how to run the football. And when they get bodies on bodies, they make it very difficult for you to defend them. And I think the effort is fine. I just feel like that you physically got beat up in that football game, and other teams are going to look at that tape and think, damn, let's get into 21 personnel. Let's get into 22 personnel. Not every team plays with a fullback, but you guys are right, or especially Zach with the 49ers, the Packers, the Lions. They look at that tape and they're going to go, let's see, let's see if you guys can stop the run, when we really want to get going and start running this football.
Do you guys think that, man, just you understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I know. I know.
Do you guys?
You feel helpless. I mean, this is the point where, and I know it's week 2, and I always say this because when I was in the league, the most demoralizing thing to me was when somebody was running the football on us.
Sure.
When I was part of a Dallas Cowboy team in the early 2000s that had 3 straight 200-yard rushers against. It was. It was Charlie Garner, and it was one guy after one. It was 200 yards every game with a back.
Sure.
And you're sitting there thinking what the hell are we going to do? How are we going to stop this? And, that the part of it is, do I trust Zimmer to do it? Sure. Does he have the personnel to do it? I think he's got the linebackers to play really good run defense. I don't know if his front is good enough to protect his linebackers, and that's my big concern right now. That we'll see.
Wolchuk, man, you think it's it's either Mike McCarthy or a Jerry Jones thing, Wolchuk? Do you think it's an ego thing, or do you think it's a familiarity thing? Do you just think it's I like old dudes thing, to where if you were okay, so Zach, let's just say this: if your last name was Jones, right?
Yep.
Zach Jones.
Hey, be careful when he plays this game. He puts you in a really bad spot.
Nah, ain't nothing like that. Zach, look, your name's Jones, right? And boy, let's just say you've been getting whooped by anybody that's shaking hands with any Shanahan in the past 5 years, right?
Yeah.
What's stopping you from going in your Rolodex, or I don't know, maybe they got an assistant or something, and like, hey man, that tight ends coach for the 49ers, let me have a talk with him, and I may have a job for him. That backup's running back coach with the Dolphins. The Lions. Okay, they're probably gonna have all new coaches leave the Lions, but I know they got a damn quarterbacks coach over there. Let me talk to him and see if I can get something from him. What's stopping either Jerry or McCarthy or Zach Jones? I don't know. What's stopping them from going, let me get somebody from this damn tree? Because every time somebody from that tree touches a team, it transforms. It transforms. The Texans got good overnight, Zach. The Lions got good overnight, Zach. The damn New Orleans Saints, we don't just watch one game of film, Zach. I watched last year's Saints. They look ridiculous. They was flopping all over the place. That was a bad team. This team just last Sunday, night and day. So what's stopping Jerry, Mike McCarthy, Pacifica? I don't know who in charge of that. What's stopping them from calling somebody from that tree and going, help? What's stopping them?
I think you mentioned ego and familiarity. I think definitely are those. And when do we really see an extensive coaching search? Whether it's head coach, whether it's the assistants, everybody that's been hired, it's somebody that they've known or is a friend of a friend. And that's kind of par for the course in the NFL. But I told Brian and the rest of the G-Bag Nation this the other day. 2 years ago, whenever it was, Kellen Moore leaves, all right, before they bring in Schottenheimer, I did exactly what you're talking about. I looked at this 49ers staff, Bobby Slowick, that's on the list. Rams staff, Zach Taylor, that's on the list. Now, I did go look at the Eagles because their offense was good at the time, and Brian Johnson has a relationship with Dak. I put Brian Johnson on the list. But I came up with 5 or 6 names from all of these offenses you're talking about. Now, some of them have had good jobs. Some of them are now doing a great job in the National Football League. But if I'm able to sit during a break in the studio of our radio show and do it, it shows you it's not that hard. It's really not. But this team is not really showing a willingness to go outside the box. And maybe it is. Maybe it is. We're the idiots that are asking Jerry about this. So he's thinking, well, screw you guys. I'm going to go out there. I'm doing it my way. I'm not bringing in a Shanahan guy. No. That trend's not lasting. I'm bringing in my own. We're doing it the way we're doing it. Maybe that is the way. But it's maddening as a Cowboys fan that's been watching this. And it's like, guys, it doesn't seem that hard, but you don't want to adjust with the times.
Yeah. Is there anybody on defense that stops these Shanahan guys?
Brian Flores sure did last week.
Yeah. See, that's where the next thing, because you know what? If the trends turn into all these Shanahans and McVays and Kubiaks and all these guys get the jobs, better figure out somebody that can stop these things. You know, I mean, if there's somebody that puts the brakes on Mike McDaniel, is there a guy in Buffalo that does this? You know, is there somebody in Kansas City that we're not talking about that puts the brakes on these guys? You know, it seems like that guy in Cincinnati knows how to stop Pat Mahomes.
Sure.
You know, that guy's got that, my man Lou with the crazy last name. He's got that thing figured out. Yeah. But, you know, the next trend might be, you know, who, instead of having one of these guys, who are the dudes that can stop these guys? You know, because that's what you might be facing here. And I'll tell you what, it's pretty simple, man. It looks kind of fun. They're bringing fullbacks back. You know, bringing big tight ends back. You know, hallelujah. This ought to be a lot of fun.
Well, Brian, I think they're doing it. I'm terrible with coach names, by the way, but my man's that was coaching defense in Baltimore last year, and they just saw him beat
the guy that's in Seattle.
He's in Seattle now.
Mike McDonald.
And he beats the hell out all the Shanahan guys, and his ass got a job immediately, right? So I imagine that we are going to that.
My man John Snyder, my former intern. He's playing ahead of the game right now. Not really. John got lucky, I guess, hiring this guy.
Schwartz in Cleveland. You did the break down last year, all the robber coverage that they were playing against
49ers.
Like that's a guy that you look at. I mean, Steve Spagnuolo with Kansas City. Is there somebody on that defensive coaching staff? They did a pretty darn good job in the Super Bowl for the most part against that offense. So yeah, I mean, there's guys out there that have had success that I certainly would love to pick their brain.
And look, man, I don't. There's nothing wrong with hiring experienced guys or whatever, man. But man, what are we talking to Rex Ryan for, man? Why are we calling Ron Rivera? Like, what are we talking to Marvin Lewis for? What are we talking? What Marvin Lewis doing right now? I don't even know what he's doing right now. What are we talking to him for? I don't know, guys.
I think he's coaching with the Raiders. I think he's like a senior assistant with the Raiders because
you're right.
Because with Antonio, my man, who's coaching the Raiders, he was at Arizona State. And Marvin, had him on. They had him and
Herm Edwards.
Herm Edwards had all those coaches over there, man.
But Brian, what's that made up ass job title you just said he was? What you just said that was? You ain't senior assistant to the head coach of the assistant. Brian, if I ever became a head coach, you can be my senior assistant coordination technician for my damn team.
I tried to get John Gruden to name me that one time. I said, Gruden, you could give me some crazy ass title, like, you know, like official carrier of head coach's bags. I could be that guy.
Broaddus, then Wolchuk.
Oh, okay.
In that order.
Get ready.
Good.
Yeah, get
ready.
ready.
I like it in that order.
Man, does it at least make you feel a little better that the Bengals 0-2, the Ravens 0-2, the damn Jacksonville Jaguars 0-2? You just look around the league, man, and you go, man, what you mean the Rams ain't won a game this year? The 49ers 1-1. You know what I mean? Like, does that at least make you feel a little better about the woes that your football club is having?
I have to do a thing on our show, Voch, called the bet payoff, because I picked the Eagles last night to beat the Falcons. So I have to do something ridiculous like, dress up like Mrs. Doubtfire or wear my clothes backwards or eat a extremely hot gummy. But
Well, that's an easy damn pick out of those three. There's an easy.
I'll tell you what.
Turn that shirt around.
I'll tell you, watching me and Chris Cross.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
But I'll say this: watching the way that Philadelphia game ended last night.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to wear my clothes backwards for that one. That was, but I'll tell you what, man, I got problems in my own backyard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to, I'm sitting here looking at these other teams. I feel, all right, thank you, Eagles for giving away a game. Thank you. I was trying to think of which team had the worst loss this week. Was it the Cowboys, the Eagles, or the Ravens? The Ravens had no business losing that game, but they do. They find a way to lose. But I think, my days of working for teams, nobody ever feels sorry for you. Nobody feels sorry for you. And I'm to the point too now, even being out of it, like, man, my team looked really good in week 1, and we looked like hot garbage on defense and some offensive snaps on Sunday. So I'm thinking of that right now more than I am like, oh, poor Jacksonville. Oh, poor Cincinnati. I hope Cincinnati keeps losing because you play them. They're on the schedule. Everybody you play, just keep losing. Fine. Just keep losing. That's my thought.
I definitely feel better when the Eagles lose. That's a little bit replenishing for me. I will celebrate those losses, especially the way in which it happened.
It was amazing.
Oh yeah,
whew, it really was. It really, especially with all the controversy, like Kellen Moore. Why didn't you run the damn ball? We've been there before. We've lived that. So there you go. You can enjoy that, Eagle fans over there.
Here.
Hey, somewhere that Joe Schoen, Shane? So in New York, that guy that let go of Saquon Barkley. When Barkley dropped that ball, you think he wasn't like going,
He went,
yeah.
That's why you didn't pay him.
He got John Mayer on the phone.
Yeah. Damn right.
He got John Mayer on the phone. He goes, I told you, boss, you can't rely on that son of a bitch.
Yeah, but otherwise,
Saquon did what now? Saquon did what? What do you do now?
What are you trying to tell you? He catch the damn ball.
Go ahead, Zach. My bad.
I'm sorry.
But no, I mean, like the Bengals. Look, I'd almost rather be in where the Bengals' shoes right now at 0-2. You just played the Super Bowl favorite that you can beat, and you play them better than anybody, and you've got a quarterback that you believe can go toe-to-toe because he's done it before. They're 0-2, but I feel like they're going to be just fine. They've also been there before where they start the season like crap. They blink, they end up in the AFC Championship game. Baltimore, I don't want to be in their position, right? They're desperate as hell, which also makes me nervous for Sunday. They've got to win, or else they're staring at maybe like an 0-4, 0-5 start. Their schedule is absolutely brutal. Yeah. But no, I mean, I agree overall. I'm always looking at a Cowboys lens, and I can't try and get solace from other teams' misery. I got to try and fix what's my problem here. How the hell are we going to go ahead and attack Baltimore and stop Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers, who's a weapon on the outside? And you got 2 big tight ends. How are we matching up, right? And offensively, we got to try and generate some big plays. Hey, Fergie, we need you, buddy. Go ahead and start icing that knee, man, because we need you to be playing if we want to have a chance to win this thing on Sunday.
I can find some solace, boy. You mean to tell you? I can find, because look, at the end of the day, this is a race. You know what I mean? So if I lose and you lose, we are back at square one, boy. We are right back at it again.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
You did. Did you love the Eagles' loss more than any other loss this weekend?
Brian, man, you should have seen me on Twitter, man. You should have seen me just terrorizing.
Man, what do you like? Our show is gaining some traction here, and you're like going after people. What are we doing there?
Screw those people. Yeah, screw the Eagles fans.
Fucking people. Yeah, I mean, because they get loud about us and things that we do.
They do get loud. Yeah. They do get loud. There's like who all was involved? Was Law involved? Who else was involved in just going after the Eagle fans?
I fight my own fights, Bryan Broaddus. It don't matter.
Oh, do you?
I fight my own. I will go out there and terrorize them streets by myself. But when they lose, you can't find them, so it don't matter.
That's true.
It's all good.
That is true. That is true.
Do y'all guys think Jalen Hurts ain't all that good, or is it just me talking crazy? Like maybe I'm a hater, but I think he cool, but I don't think he like all that great as they say he is. Am I just hating when I say that?
I don't think you're hating, man. I think there's some legitimate issues with him. Man, the stuff when he runs the ball, he's hard to deal with. When he throws the ball, now that pass to Barkley's got to be caught. Jesus,
that wasn't on him.
That's not on him. But man, when it got down, there's some crazy ass number going on right now with the number of fourth quarter leads that they've blown in the last 2 minutes of games, and then all of a sudden he gets the ball back, and he looks like he doesn't know where to throw it or nowhere. It's funny. Kirk Cousins just dip down the field, and then the guy gets a chance. He's got a damn good field goal kicker. He can't get him. All he has to do is get him to like midfield, and they're gonna probably tie the damn game. And he just does some of the craziest ass things in the games, and you're like going, man, I don't know. It looks like to me it doesn't always bother him, which makes me mad.
Yeah.
If I was an Eagles fan, who is it? There was always somebody where there's always our teams when the guys look like they don't care, and as fans we get all pissed off because they like, why do I care more than them right now? Yeah. Why am I the one? And Jalen Hurts always looks like he's just kind of sitting there like,
good.
Another fourth quarter collapse.
Good. Not our problem. He ain't got to smile another day in his life. Let his ass keep failing and falling down. When we kick their ass, we gonna get the views, Bryan Broaddus. Let them fly.
I know.
Damn right.
I tell you what, there's some questions about his ability to throw the football, though.
Well, he does just silly things. I mean, like everyone's making fun of Will Levis. I mean, week one, what is Jalen Hurts doing? He's rolling to his right. He's throwing across his body to the middle of the field. What the hell does he think's going to happen?
Yeah.
I mean, you play.
The sucker can make some plays though, too, man. He can make some plays. God dang.
Yeah, he's dangerous in the open field.
Yeah.
Man, one last thing before I let y'all go, man. Man, Brian said earlier, man. He said, man, I don't think we're gonna go and get any, D lineman, man. I think the crew that we got is the crew that we got. And I was like, all right, cool. I could see a world where the crew that we got just got to play a little better and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But these running backs, though.
Oh, no.
Brian, please. I told you, he's going to drag you into some stuff, Zach, you don't want to be involved with.
Man, can somebody please call McCarthy, Jones, Pacifica? I named him twice a day. Whoever we got to talk to.
My man Adam is taking some strays. Is Adam Pacific taking some strays as the cap guy? The cap guy's taking
money,
strays.
Please. Adam, just create some money, okay? We need to go out there and do things like San Francisco does. We need to pay everybody, pay everyone. No, Voch, this all comes back to run the football. Yeah. And this is an era that we're living in where it's all about throwing the ball. It's big plays. You know what? It always comes back to running the damn ball. I'm going to line up, and I'm going to beat the shit out of the dude in front of me, right? That's football.
Where were you? Where were every one of you? Where were every one of you?
I wasn't on the show when you were fighting that battle, or else I'd have been fighting it along with you.
My man,
you're arguing
Jeff
with
Kavanaugh,
Jeff, who's a wide receiver.
My
Jeff
man,
loves
Jeff
the
Kavanaugh. And Voch, don't you go and hide now on this one. Because I wasn't working with you. I wasn't working with you. But you're every one of these people. Oh, too many runs. I ain't never said that. Running the play. When you run the ball, it's a wasted down. I sat there and listened. I was working at DallasCowboys.com, and I listened to my current station for 5 years tell me how effing stupid it was to run the football. And, hey, this is how you help Dak. Let Dak's day be 24 for 28 or 262 and 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns.
Right, man.
Run the ball, do this. Broaddus, every time you run the ball, it's a wasted down. It was the analytics people. It was all these people were just saying, throw the ball. That's how you score. Now I'm listening to my guy Dawson, who I work, Gavin Dawson. Oh, I got to get a running game going. He fought with me every single day.
Don't running back and don't draft a running back in the first round. There's always a caveat to this.
I know.
Everyone,
Hey, I sat here and fought for running backs.
Yeah.
And everybody sat there. Oh no, Broaddus, it's a wasted down. You throw the ball. There's more advantages of throwing the ball. And people say, yeah, you score and all that. But now We're all talking about running games. We're all talking about running game rank. Is it good enough? No.
Mahomes is, right? As great as he is.
Yeah.
Those 3 Super Bowl wins. Damian Williams in the first one
Yeah.
had a lot to do with it, and Isaiah Pacheco in the other 2 had a lot to do with it.
Sure. Yeah, but you jackasses need to, I'm listening to everybody do this now. Oh God, got to have a running game. Where were you 5 years ago when you were all looking at analytics and saying, it's a wasted down? Now the teams that are running the football, everybody's like, well, he's Shanahan, dude. Mike Shanahan. When I got in the league in the early 90s, you know what the Shanahans did? They ran the damn ball. That's what they did.
And didn't matter who the running back was.
Teams run the ball well now. You should have seen back in the 90s when they were running the football. In the 80s running the football. I am old man guy, but I'm telling you, man, this my head wants to explode because this has always been important.
Look,
running the football has always been important.
Look, man, 5 years ago, I was working at Pizza Hut or something, dogs. And I don't even come in here talking all that about to run the football. I tell you when it really changed for me. I saw the 49ers win a postseason game and Jimmy Garoppolo threw the ball like 6 times or something.
Yeah.
And then the very next day on TV, they was like, hey, Jimmy Garoppolo's a playoff quarterback, boy. He gets it done out there. I was like, all right, cool. I would love for my quarterback to just ride around and just
telling
kick
you what, man. I've been a part of those games where how demoralizing it is when somebody runs the ball.
Yeah.
It is demoralizing. It takes you walk out of that stadium and you're like, you could lose a game, by 1 point or whatever. You get somebody that just runs the ball on you the whole day. Mm. That is, you sit on that bus and you question if you're in the right profession. Seriously. I felt like Dallas felt before. I know that feeling all too well.
But to circle back, Voch, they're too damn stubborn. They're not adding a running back to this room. They're going to rock with the cats they got right now, and then we can talk in the offseason about who we're going to draft.
Well, the thing about it is, though, I would just have liked to know, is it the backs or the line? That's what I would like to know.
I think
if you're telling me, Voch, I've interrupted you like 17 times, and I'm sorry about that.
Get used to it, Voch.
No. I think it's more scheme because I think a good scheme can make a goofy running back look good.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be mistaken. Your running backs aren't good either. So we don't have backs and we don't have scheme. And honestly, I don't think we have urgency to get better. I don't think your coaches have this urgency to get better. I think they would much rather throw the football and just have Dak save us or whatever. But Dak will save you if you have a good run game. So I think your offensive line is fine. And I'll tell you why I think your offensive line is fine. Because Nick Ruiz and Trevor Penning ain't good.
Yeah.
They ain't good. And Fuaga is a rookie and his back was hurting. And even though he had all the Oregon State tape of whooping the hell out of people in the run game, that's still a rookie in the NFL. So you got 3 offensive linemen that aren't Zach Martin, Terrence, Pro Bowl Tyler Smith. Like last year you had 3 all pros on your team.
Yeah. And
we couldn't run the football then. And you've been, every time we'll look at, all right, Miami rolling Lester Cotton out here. The 49ers rolling J.D. McKivitz out here. All right, man. Connor McGovern didn't work over here, but boy, the Bills rolling out Connor McGovern over there, and they run the football all up and down on us. So I think it's run scheme first, then goofy little running back second, and then you can maybe talk about your offensive line, maybe.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I know we got into it, beating the dead horse about what you maybe could have tried to do against Cleveland. Mm-hmm. If anything, you would have learned, hey, we can have some success, or man, we can't use these plays because these plays are not going to work against a really good front seven. Yeah. And that's what you could have learned. But they want to come out in week 2 and tell us we didn't have enough opportunities.
And Brian, to your point, Brian, trap ain't worked not one damn time. These past 2 games we've been running, we haven't run a successful trap yet. So to your point, correct, sir.
Yeah. No, but that's the problem. And I don't know. I would love to believe that Will McClay would convince Mike McCarthy that at the trade deadline in November 9th that if we need a guy, or go get a guy now. Don't wait till then. If you can identify somebody that you feel like could be a difference maker as a back, And I think what they're going to do is they're going to give our guy Cook another week. And then if it looks horrific, which it might, then I could see him being active against. But when you're coming off this game, you got, man, what kind of moves you're going to make? You go from this game to playing Thursday night, you know?
Yeah.
But we'll all feel better after playing the Giants. So we got that for us.
Hey, man, when draft season come around, I look forward to talking to y'all boys about running back, man. I tell you what, because we ain't doing nothing this week.
I don't think you.
Hey, man, fantastic show. Appreciate y'all for coming on the show and entertaining everybody. Appreciate y'all for being entertained and tuning in and tapping in with us. I'm Voch Lombardi on Twitter. I'm very much so active and shitting on Eagles fans, so y'all tap in with that. What's your Twitter, Zach?
It's at Zach Wolchuk.
All right, at Zach Wolchuk, and you can check him out, G-Bag Nation 2 to 7, Monday through Friday, and draft show maybe possibly Friday in February or whatever. And Bryan Broaddus, y'all know him, Bryan Broaddus Wolchuk. This is what we do. We like to bring Broaddus over here, and I like to just point at his name right there to let the people know what, because they'll call him Brian, and that ain't him.
Yeah, it's Brian with a Y.
Hey, real quick though, Voch, I had to get on this morning at 5:40 and explain the Phil Collins picture.
With who?
It's really nothing about Phil Collins. It's the look of Phil Collins.
Yeah.
When you get this look right here, Zach, that's like you've said something like really, really.
Come on, dog.
Yeah. That's it.
5 in the morning. Who you had to say that to? Who did you have to explain that to?
Guy asked me the question. He goes, "What's the deal with the Phil Collins picture?" And I said I had to explain to him it's when Voch does that to me, he's trying to give me the look like, really, you want to say that? That's it. But we like Genesis. We're Phil Collins fans.
Somebody watches our show, man. I get blown away every time you tell me that. All right, so appreciate y'all.
You're the best, Voch.
Chill out, dog.
Don't tell him that crap.
Way better than Brian with a Y. I'll tell you that.
Well, that is true. Hey, appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. We'll catch y'all tomorrow. We're gonna be breaking down the Ravens offense and how scary they look, even though they 0-2. Y'all hold it down. We'll catch y'all next time. Hey, Crown.